Meeting of the Town of Lincoln Council of July 16th, 2018 to order, and ask that you all stand for the national anthem. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Everyone from the Town of Lincoln Council is present this evening, and I'll start with Councillor Dave Thompson, third down on my right. Councillor Thompson is the current Deputy Mayor. And we also have Councillor Foster on my right, and then Councillor Timmers and Councillor Brunet. And on my left, we have Councillor Wayne McMillan, Councillor Diane Rajima, Councillor John Pachariva, and Councillor Paul McPherson. On my right is Julie Kirkolos, the Clerk of the Town of Lincoln. On my left is Mr. Mike Kirkopoulos, the Chief Administrative Officer. And we also have staff here this evening. We have Carrie Beattie, the Senior Communications Advisor, Paul Diani, Economic Development Officer, Matt Guadagnolo from the IT Department. We have Kathleen Dale, Director of Planning and Development, Dave Graham, Director of Public Works, Jillian Harris, Manager of Environmental Services, Sarah Ain, Acting Associate Director of Recreation, Culture, and Special Projects, and Lori Laird, Acting Manager, Community Development, Museum, and Culture. Welcome, everyone. Are there any declarations of interest? Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a declaration with regards to bylaw in Section 16, D, E, F, and G as they relate to a customer of mine from my current daytime employer.
All right, thank you very much, Councillor, and your paperwork has been filed with the clerk. Councillors, are there any members who have any changes to the order of business detailed in the agenda? There being none, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is civic recognition. I'll turn to CAO Kirkopoulos.
Thank you, Your Worship. Good evening, members of council and staff that are here in attendance. I'm thrilled to provide you a little bit of an update and something we started and spoke of very briefly at the last council meeting. But we've got two individuals, or two groups, one individual, one group of individuals that I want to recognize this evening. The first is Lori Laird. And Lori is the CAO's Award of Excellence recipient. So just to give members of council a little bit of an update on those awards and what they stand for. The corporate awards for excellent, and the acronym for those is CAFE, identify and recognize individuals or teams who through their service, dedication, and exceptional performance have excelled in the delivery of municipal services to the residents of the town of Lincoln through the demonstration of the following 4 principles: customer service, leadership and empowerment, team effectiveness, and lastly, innovation and creativity. We received a number of nominations from staff who took the time to recognize their peers, and that's always an important thing. And as I said, this year's winner in the CAO's Award of Excellence was Lori Laird. So Lori's no stranger to this council and to a number of us in her role. And she's played an integral part, I think, as we can all attest to, in a number of events. But she was nominated for the planning and execution of the Canada 150 activities that ran throughout our sesquicentennial celebrations last year. Lori went above and beyond throughout the year to ensure many of the identified projects were a success, specifically the Canada 150 mural mosaic, which was one of 4 cornerstone projects. Those Canada 150 projects were in addition to her regular role and duties as a recreation coordinator. Her passion, exceptional customer service, communication, and organizational skills were a great support in helping create an experience people will not forget and have not forgotten. As a result, by the great turnout we saw in residents and dignitaries to all our events. So personally, Lori's, one of those individuals you all want to have, and we all want to have in our organization, because she does work tirelessly. She's incredibly committed to the task at hand, very good with children, seniors, and everything in between. I know my own daughters started camp this morning, and we're excited to see Lori, and we're yelling, "Lori, Lori," when they saw her. And I think there's not a time I walk into the Fleming Center where someone's not ecstatically yelling and chasing after Lori. So my sincere thanks to Lori for the role she plays in our organization, the role she has played, the acting role that she's stepped up to play during this time of transition. There's probably a lot more I could say about Lori, but I won't embarrass her. I had lunch with her last week and gave her a little bit of a certificate and had a chance to chat with her and members of the team. And last week, we also shared that as part of the Grimsby Lincoln News, from a Diamond Award recipient standpoint, our camp program was recognized, and again, something that Lori has played an important role in, as has the entire community services team. So if we could all give Lori an applause and thank her for her service.
On behalf of council, congratulations, Lori. We see your work every day, and we thank you for your dedication and commitment. Thank you.
And so our second award is the Customer Service and Spirit Award, and that goes to our Environmental Services Group, and our manager, Jillian, is here this evening on behalf of the Environmental Services Group and her group. And so let me just read out a small description of what that group has done. Every day, our water and wastewater operators are working as a cohesive team that strives to provide the best service to the residents of the town, often under very adverse conditions, whether they be weather, whether they be businesses that we inadvertently have to deny access to or shut down, and sometimes people aren't necessarily as happy with us on any given day. They're always able to inform customers and leave them feeling confidence in our system. In December, the team scored 100% on our quality management system audit, which is an impressive feat that demonstrates their commitment to ensure the town has access to clean, safe drinking water and wastewater services. So thank you to Jillian and her entire team of water and wastewater operators.
Thank you very much. Jillian, on behalf of council, we know that there's a great deal of rigor behind the work that you and your team do. This is not, this is all under the law that we must follow, and to receive 100% for 2 years in a row, I think I have that correct, is really quite outstanding. So I know that you are new to your position, but clearly the team knows their work and they know how to execute, so thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. CAO. And we'll move on to the mayor's report. And my report this evening really goes back to the comments that Mr. Kirkopoulos made about Lori and the work that is being executed by Community Services this summer. I was over at the arena today, and it was really quite a sight to see the number of children that are involved in the summer camp, but also the new basketball nets that are there. About half of the skateboard is installed. Trevor Donegan, who you know has been raising money now for at least the last 4 years, was there. He's now working as one of the camp coaches, one of the counselors. And when Trevor told me that the skate park was absolutely amazing, the skate park equipment, I knew we had really hit a home run. There's going to be even more. The kids are having lots of fun with it. They also had a chance to use the equipment with the bike track on that great cycling event that we had a couple of weeks ago. So I just want to say that I think that some of these projects have taken a little bit longer to get off the to get going, but they are coming along well, and most importantly, the young people in the community are really enjoying themselves. And they have the ability to get on the U-Link if they need to and come from wherever they live in the community to a location where there is supervision and amenities, and they can just have fun with their friends. So that's my report for this evening, because I feel it really represents a lot of the very, very goodwill that's going on in the community right now, particularly for the youth. Thank you very much. All right, now I'm going to go back up to the adoption of the previous council minutes, which is item number 7. And I have a motion moved by Councillor Foster and seconded by Councillor Thompson that the minutes of the July 3rd, 2018 regular meeting of council be adopted. Are there any errors or omissions? There being none, your pleasure on the motion. The motion is carried. Councillors, is there any business arising from the minutes? Thank you. We'll move on then to the regional councillor's report, and the regional councillor is not present this evening. The next item is councillor reports. Do any members of council have items to report? Councillor McMillan.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to report to council at part of a discussion that took place at the last meeting of the library board. At that meeting, our CEO, Jill Nicholson, presented us with a letter, and it was a letter of resignation. And Jill has expressed an interest in retiring at the end of this year. So that letter was received by the board, and we certainly wish her all the best in her retirement. And the board now is in the process of a CEO search, and are looking for some help from the Ontario Library Association to give us some guidance in how we would go about that. And I'm sure that there's going to be time in the fall when we will be able to meet with Jill and thank her properly and formally for her work with the library, and also for her dedication and work with the residents in the town. So it was a not unexpected letter that we received, but it's her plan now to retire at the end of the calendar year. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. I have Councillor Petrieva.
Your Worship, I attended the Region's Culture Committee meeting on Thursday night, and I've got an update for council. There was a meeting scheduled in May, but it was canceled. So this was our first time of getting a report of the Niagara Investment and Culture grants. 2017-18 NIC adjudication panel approved funding for 28 projects, of which 4 received their full funding request and 24 received a portion of their request. The full $250,000 was allocated. The projects recommended for funding represent a wide range of cultural activity taking place for a broad, diverse mix of audiences throughout Niagara, including music, theater, heritage, indigenous arts, digital arts, arts education, and outreach, and festivals of all types. The list, Bravo Niagara, Carousel Players, Central Station Education Initiative from Welland, City of Welland, Corporation of the Township of West Lincoln for Movies in the Park, Folk Arts Multicultural Center for Community Mural Project, Fort Erie Festivals for their Multicultural Day, Grimsby Public Art Gallery for The Ripple Effect, Heartland Forest for Intergenerational Puppetry, Music Niagara, Inaugural Young Musicians of Niagara Competition, Nellis Manor Heritage House, Battle of the 40 Celebration, Nito Hananaki Akawani Native Arts, Here Lives the People's Art Showcase, and that's from Niagara Falls, Niagara Artist Center, Niagara Art Showcase, Niagara Cricket Club, Niagara Falls Museum, Cricket Club is from Thorold, Niagara Historical Society from Niagara-on-the-Lake, Niagara Regional Native Center from Niagara-on-the-Lake, Niagara Symphony Association, St. Catharines, Rodman Hall, St. Catharines, Suitcase and Point, In the Soil Arts Festival, St. Catharines, TD Niagara Jazz Festival, World Music on the Beach, St. Catharines, Foster Festival, St. Catharines, Town of Niagara-on-the-Lake, Voices of Freedom Park from Niagara-on-the-Lake, Town of Pelham, Pelham Street Performer Program, Twitches and Itches Theater, September Songs, Welland Public Library, and the Yellow Door Theater Project, The Merry Adventures of Robin Hood from Niagara-on-the-Lake. A lot of these groups come to Niagara Investment and Culture and leverage these dollars to present new things. A little disappointing, nothing from the town of Lincoln's there this year, but I know, having sat on this committee before, that I've already talked to Steve at Vienny, and we'll help him with his application for their jazz event. But one of the things that was very disconcerting at our meeting is we found out that the Niagara Investment in Culture was lumped into an audit committee, an internal audit report looking at grants from the region to evaluate and ensure the grant and incentive programs, determine the effectiveness of the marketing and application, evaluate post-award monitoring practices. As a advisory committee of council, it's our job to report on this. This was news to all of us. One of the members' questions was, how can policy change without informing one of the committees that's intimately involved with it? There's been people from all over Niagara that sit on this committee voluntarily for the past 4 years, and the word to describe it could be gobsmacked. People's jaws dropped not knowing this. So after we kind of regrouped, I suggested, well, as an advisory committee of council, it's our job to prepare a report on this. Well, final report being planned for the audit committee was June 18th, 2018. When the culture committee started 4 years ago, there was 2 FTEs. Now there's none. So you had a lot of people sitting around this table wondering, why? Why? $250,000, might seem like chicken feed compared to some of the other grant programs, but you know what? It goes a heck of a long way to, help struggling arts groups. It was part of the, the region's plan that helps incentive, the NIC program is one of several incentive programs currently under regional review. The program will continue to be delivered in 2018, but the changes might happen in 2019. But the thing is, it helped 24 groups, which is twice as many as any of the other grant programs. When you go at the current reported measures, it checks off 5 of the 7 boxes. And I think part of the problem is it's lumped in with planning grants. So the metrics that are proposed under the new reporting group can't be quantified. So I sent an email today asking Marion Bannerman, who is a staff person from the region, she's in the planning and development group, to send me all of the grant applications and the amounts that were doled out and the amounts that it generated in funding, that it generated in attendance, that it generated in touching people, that it generated being one of the focal points of Niagara being a cultural capital of Canada. And 3 of us are going to sit down and we're going to write the report. And we're going to get into the staff's hands because right now, we're a committee without any staff, which I think is reprehensible.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Who chairs the committee?
It's Mayor Joyner from West Lincoln, and Joe Henriques is the co-chair. He's one of the community members.
Okay. You'll be in touch with Mayor Joyner, I take it? Thank you very much for your report. Now, I have Councillor Thompson.
Thank you very much, Mayor Easton. Last week, Monday, I attended Governance Committee meeting of NPEI. We had the opportunity to have the CEO of the Electrical Distribution Association come in, Teresa Sarkazian. She talked about the new government coming on and the changes that are likely to occur within the electrical sector, and just described basically what they are up to, how they deal with the different ministries and agencies, and so it was a very good presentation. So that's it for me. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to add to Councillor McMillan's comments earlier about changes at the library, both of us were able to attend that board meeting as well. We both attended a subsequent board committee meeting to have some initial discussions on what the board is going to do with replacement. One of the things that both Councillor McMillan and I were very strong on with the library board is that they need to be keeping the CAO in the loop with what's going on with this. And the simple reason is that there was no plan within the budget to have monies for search committees, et cetera. So the expectation is that there needs to be close work with the CAO in case some monies are needed to make sure that we have the best librarian possible come in to take over the role after Jill retires. So anyway, thank you.
All right, thank you for that information, Councillor. All right, anyone else? Second thoughts? All right, we have no delegations this evening. Madam Clerk, I see no correspondence. Is that still the case? There's no correspondence. And we move on to reports. And the Sport, Recreation and Culture Committee minutes of July 4th are next. Councillor McMillan, would you care to provide highlights of the meeting?
Oh, yes. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. The Sports, Recreation and Committee met on the 4th of July here in the council chambers, and the following are the highlights from that meeting. We received 3 reports from staff. One was CM 18-16, which was presented to us by the Sylvia from the museum, and that has to do with the Google Arts and Culture Appreciation Project, application project. The second report was CM 18-17, and that was the pickleball court development. And I think in remarks that you made earlier when you were at the Fleming Center today, you likely saw some of the pickleball that was going on there. And the third one was CM 1818, and that was the tender award for the town hall re-roofing project. And we were adjourned at 7:33, a relatively short meeting, but the length of the meeting is certainly not indicative of the work that was done by the committee. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any questions? I have a motion moved by Councillor McMillan, seconded by Councillor Njima, that the minutes of the July 4th, 2018 Sport, Recreation and Culture Committee be adopted as circulated. Your pleasure on the motion. The motion is carried. And the Planning Committee minutes of July 9th. Councillor Thompson, would you care to provide highlights of the meeting?
Thank you, Mayor Easton. The highlights of the Planning Committee meeting held on July 9th here in the Chambers. Committee had 2 public hearings regarding PL 18-42, draft plan of subdivision by Milgen Brothers Incorporated, and PL 18-43, zoning bylaw amendment application by 222-8490 Ontario Incorporated. 2 delegations were received, with the first from Dave Hayworth, Niagara Region, regarding the new official plan, the time frame, and the second delegation received from Dave Aston from MHBC Planning regarding Report 18-45, the zoning bylaw amendment application and revisions to the draft plan of subdivision by 241-0002 Ontario Limited. Committee then dealt with 4 staff reports addressing matters that included PL 18-44 noise exemption application by Redstone Winery, PL 18-45 a zoning bylaw amendment application and revisions to a draft plan of subdivision by 241-0002 Ontario Limited. The third report was regarding PL 18-46, which is the proposed regional official plan amendment 13, updates to transportation policies. And last report was actually PL 18-47, pre-servicing agreement for Vista Ridge Phase 1 by 241-0002 Ontario Incorporated. Anybody is looking for more information and full details about that meeting, it's certainly available on our website of the town at lincoln.ca.
Thank you very much, Councillor. I have a motion moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Foster, that the minutes of the July 9th, 2018 Planning Committee be adopted as circulated. Any questions to the motion? Councillor Foster?
Actually, no questions to the motion, just to the report itself. One of the key delegations that we had came in concerned the Niagara region and presenting the new official plan time frame. No flames. The thing about that and what our municipality as well as the other municipalities within Niagara region have to keep in mind is that this has a huge effect on us. The official plan of Niagara region has dictated a lot of the way that this municipality has grown or has not grown. It's dictated a lot of the ways that funding has been thought through on differing ends of Niagara region, et cetera. So this is one that we all need to be keeping in mind and watching very carefully going into the next number of years. Yes, it is a long process, but there are going to be very distinct processes that this municipality is going to have to make sure they are bringing forward to make sure that we are an active voice. I've always said Lincoln is a happening town. We're one of the places that people want to be in Niagara region, and so we want to make sure that the official plan reflects accordingly as we're going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Foster. And there seemed to be a belief, and I've heard that report twice now, there seems to be this belief that the regional official plan amendments are at a high level, and that somehow there isn't the same need to have local consultation. I don't agree with that. As you know, I spoke to it the other night, and I'll continue to speak to it. I think that there needs to be examples given of circumstances that are local initiatives and how that official plan could or could not impact them. And I'll continue to speak in that regard. Thank you very much, Councillor. Any other questions? Councillor Chima.
So further to that, it was good to hear Mr. Hayworth come out and speak about that. So he is going around to different municipalities, and that's a good start for public participation. Particularly, I was interested in what he was talking about, expanding and opening up policies for wineries in the area. That's some of our wineries, particularly in the Niagara Escarpment Commission area, are not necessarily treated the same as some of the wineries in the other areas. So that was interesting to hear. And I also have a question through to the Director of Planning, and that's regarding the Vista Ridge development and the pre-servicing agreement. I don't remember there being archaeological concerns there, but I see that there's a section in the pre-servicing agreement that Phase 1 not proceed until a letter of acknowledgement has been received from the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Recreation, confirming that all archaeological resource concerns have met licensing and resource conservation requirements. And I'm wondering if that has anything to do with, I know that there's some new guidelines that have come out from the ministry regarding archaeological assessments. And so has anything changed in that regard? Is that why we're seeing that now, or has it been there all along and I just didn't know about it?
Councillor Minchima, we're going to direct this to Director Dale.
Thank you.
Kathleen Dale. Kathleen, if you would.
Through you, Madam Mayor. For Vista Ridge, they actually had completed their archaeological assessment, and then they bought some additional land, so they have to complete the archaeological assessment on that portion of the land. Subsequent to writing the report, they actually had that study done, but they need to file the paperwork with the ministry. There weren't any issues identified, but they still have to file some paperwork with the ministry.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Satisfactory, Councillor? Thank you very much, Ms. Dale. All right, your pleasure on the motion. The motion is carried. We move on now to the Infrastructure Committee minutes of July 11th. Councillor Brunet, if you would care to provide highlights of that meeting.
Thank you, Mayor Easton. The following are highlights regarding the minutes of the Infrastructure Committee held on July 11th, 2018. Committee received one delegation from WSP Consulting Engineers regarding the Transportation Master Plan. Consultants provided information and analysis on the development of the TMP and will be coming back after stakeholder meetings with recommendations in early 2019. There was some very good discussion from committee members to make sure that WSP is well aware of our concerns with truck safety, truck traffic, safety within the entire community, and upgraded multi-use pathways and trails for the public. Committee received a correspondence item being the minutes of the Active Transportation Advisory Committee meeting of May 24th. And then committee received two reports regarding the first report, PW 18-19, the detailed design of the Jordan Village Improvements Project Award. And the second report that evening was PW 18-20, the Vineland West Private Water System Water Main Upgrade Project tender results, which included the award to the contractor as well as the Cole Engineering retained to provide contract administration. We had a number of councillor inquiries. I'll just very quickly go through some of the inquiries that evening regarding questions raised to roadside mowing. Councillor Foster raised concerns about ongoing construction and dust regarding Conkle Creek and asked for a staff follow-up rather. We had discussion regarding the owner of the trailer park and some CN Rail opportunities to improve area around flooding and draining concerns that were raised by Councillor McPherson. We adjourned at what time did we adjourn? 8:39, I believe it was. And there was an announcement reminding committee members that on Friday, July the 20th, there will be a tour of Conkle Creek construction site starting at 3 o'clock. Full details regarding the meeting can be found on the agenda and minutes published on the town's website. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Brunet. Are there any questions to the report? There being none, I have a motion moved by Councillor Brunet, seconded by Councillor Timmers, that the minutes of the July 11th, 2018 Infrastructure Committee be adopted as circulated. Pleasure on the motion. The motion is carried. We have no confirmation of compliance with Section 34 of the Planning Act this evening. We have 8 bylaws. And I have a motion moved by Councillor McMillan and seconded by Councillor McPherson that leave be given to introduce the following bylaws. Bylaw 2018-56 to provide for the appointment of a deputy clerk for the town of Lincoln. Bylaw number 2018-57-Z514, a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 93-14-Z1 as amended of the town of Lincoln, Vista Ridge. Bylaw number 2018-58, bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan agreement between the town of Lincoln and MC Beamsville, Inc. Bylaw 2018-59, a bylaw to stop up and close part of the unopened road allowance between Broken Front Concession and Concession 1, Lot 12 in the town of Lincoln, Part 1. Bylaw 2018-60, a bylaw to authorize the conveyance of part of the unopened road allowance between Broken Front Concession and Concession 1, Lot 12 in the town of Lincoln, Part 1. Bylaw 2018-61, a bylaw to stop up and close part of the unopened road allowance between Broken Front Concession and Concession 1, Lot 12 in the town of Lincoln, Part 2. Bylaw 2018-62, a bylaw to authorize the conveyance of part of the unopened road allowance between Broken Front Concession and Concession 1, Lot 12 in the town of Lincoln, Part 2. Bylaw 2018-63, to authorize a pre-servicing agreement with 2410002 Ontario, Inc. Any questions to the motion? Councillor Njima.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Regarding the site plan agreement with MC Beamsville, Inc., I'm wondering if there's anything changes or anything that we should be aware of happening with that development as a result of that site plan agreement, and if we know when they're going to get going. Are they ready to go and build now?
All right. Councillor, if you want to discuss that, is it your plan to lift it?
Oh, no, just information I could ask under councillor inquiries, I guess. Just excited to hear that it's going. And
Madam Clerk, do you have any advice? All right, if you have questions, go ahead and ask Ms. Dale, and we'll see where that goes. Do you have questions of Ms. Dale?
I do. Regarding the development as it stands, whether there's been any significant changes that we should be aware of in Ward 1 or anywhere, but I don't remember there being any changes. But do we know when are they ready to go? Are they at their final stages? Are they ready to build? Because we're excited about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Dale?
Through you, Madam Mayor, no, there's no significant changes to their application, and they're nearing the end of their site plan approval process. I think they're looking at potentially starting construction sometime around September.
That's good news. Good to hear. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions? Your pleasure on the motion? The motion is carried. I have a motion moved by Councillor McPherson and seconded by Councillor Njima that bylaws number 2018-56, 57, Z514, 2018-58, 59, 60, 61, 62, and 63, read a first time, be now read a second and third time, and finally passed, and that the mayor and clerk sign and seal the said bylaw. Your pleasure on the motion? The motion is carried. Councillor Thompson? Thank you. Are there any councillor inquiries? There being none, are there any notices of motion? Are there any announcements? Councillor Timmers.
Thank you, Mayor Easton. I have an announcement that I would like everyone to place a holder on their calendar and save the date. It's going to be the Town of Lincoln Municipal Heritage Committee is inviting you to the first Heritage Appreciation Night. It's going to be held at St. John's Church in the Hearth Room in Jordan on Thursday, September 13th. If you arrive at 7 p.m., you can have a tour of the Heritage Designated Church. The program will begin at 7:30. And what we'll be doing in the program is first we'll be recognizing owners of heritage properties that were honored last year. We'll be presenting to the recently designated properties, which would include BDSS, Mountain Mennonite Burial Ground, Camden School, and the Camden Church. Also part of this brand new program, we will be doing commendation awards. And this is for non-designated character homes in recognition for preservation and upkeep of their properties. So we want to recognize some people that take a lot of pride and care in their homes throughout the town. And we're hoping to continue this on, maybe annually, we'll see. And it's just a way to recognize them as well. The guest speaker is going to be Mary Lou Garr, and there will be refreshments and wine. So you'll be receiving an actual invitation, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up that it's coming, and save the date. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Foster.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. On a very cold winter day in early January 2001, I was, and versus 10 other candidates, I was provided the privilege of becoming one of our aldermen here in Beamsville. I was elected as a representative in that election to Ward 1. While the circumstances leading that by-election were quite interesting at the time, the result was that I had been provided the opportunity to serve our community here at Town Hall. Our town has come a long way. As a council, we have had to make tough decisions on so many issues, but in every case, it has been done for the common good and with the goals of making Lincoln a terrific place to live. 3 items were on my first set of literature in that election. One was to control water and wastewater rates, to build a new pool, and to build a new arena. Over the last 18 years, I can quite honestly say I've been able to put check marks beside all 3 of those from that original. I think the one thing I am proudest of in my work in the town of Lincoln is the development of the Alan F. Gretzinger Pool. This was the first infrastructure development in our town for a long time that was focused on our youth. Further, it filled the need of replacing an obsolete facility that had in fact been condemned. Since then, together with consecutive councils and staff, we work collaboratively to make the best decisions for our community. Some easier than others for sure, but all of them with the long-term betterment of our community in mind. Today, close to 18 years later, and after 5 successful election cycles, I am announcing that I will not be seeking my Ward 1 seat again this October. But I'm not going away into the night. If I am fortunate, I may have the opportunity to serve in a different capacity after the next election as a regional councillor. And if that doesn't happen, I will continue to do the volunteer work in our community that I continue to do today and what drew me into the political field in the first place. Anyway, to my colleagues, both current and previous, thank you for 18 years of helping make us all make a difference here in the town of Lincoln. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Foster. And Councillor Foster advised me earlier today that he would be making this announcement. And I allowed him to do that because he has been a long-serving member of council, and this is a change in his role. As we all register, and I believe everybody has registered, if they're going to now, these announcements have come through the normal channels and the clerk's office. Thank you very much on behalf of council. Thank you very much, Councillor Foster, for your leadership and for your long-term commitment to the town. There's no question that this has been, for both you and Councillor McMillan, it has been quite a ride. There's a lot that's happened in the town of Lincoln, no question about that. So thank you very much. And people are certainly will have lots of time to reminisce with you, I'm sure. Thank you. All right, now we have closed sessions this evening, ladies and gentlemen, and we have 2 closed session items scheduled. And the first item, just for clarification, both of these closed session items are supported through the Municipal Act. The first being for the purpose of educating or training the members of council, and in this case, it's regarding the new Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, or LPAT. As you know, there's a change in the Ontario Municipal Board. It's being replaced by the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, and we have not had an opportunity to learn yet exactly what our roles and responsibilities are. And the second item is a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. I have a motion moved by Councillor Njima, seconded by Councillor McPherson, that council adjourn to closed session for the purpose of educating or training the members of council regarding the new Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, and in order to address a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. Your pleasure on the motion. The motion is carried. And Madam Clerk, we're going to be adjourning to the Beamsville room. Thank you.